everyone. I'm here with International Master Asaf Givon, my fellow founder of Chess Juice, and we are streaming from our Twitch channel. I'm assuming that if you can see me now, that you're watching the archived version either on Twitch or my YouTube channel. So we will wait a few seconds before explaining what's exactly going on. But let's just verify that Asaf can hear me and that you can hear him. Hello, Asaf.
Hello, Tom. Yes, I hear you very well. I welcome everybody to our stream.
So I'm going to turn on the volume and see if I can hear you on the stream. It seems.
Hello, Tom.
Yes. Okay. So I think the viewers can hear you, and we are live. So it actually works. The viewers don't know it, but it's actually the third time we're trying to actually stream this thing, and we had some technical issues. So now it seems like we're live. Let's just verify that we have this small TV box on the Lichess server with the Chess Juice name. Yes, we are live, and we do have some viewers already, so this is great. Let's get on with explaining what we are doing. So this is a feature called the Lichess Study, and in this feature I am capable of moving the pieces and making some arrows, and Asaf can see them on his side of the stream. So do you see the arrows that I made?
I do.
Okay, so just let's verify that you can make some arrows, some random arrow.
Okay,
the viewers can see it, because it's the first time I'm using it. Yes, so knight c4 is the arrow you made. That's good.
Yes.
So
yes.
Now I'll explain what we are doing in this particular stream. So 2 days ago, the Carlsen Nakamura match was taking place, and there have been a few interesting blunders that are not very typical for both of them. And I collected as many of these big mistakes that I could find, and I created 6 different games, and I'm going to test Asaf, who doesn't know the solutions, to find the correct move with the side who made the blunder. So are we ready to start?
If you ask me, I'm ready.
Yeah, so before we do, how do you feel today, Asaf?
Quite good. It was Saturday, our rest day in our country. It was quite a nice weather today, so everything is pretty much good.
Yeah.
How was your day?
Quite normal, I would say. The average day for the chess player. Waking up, doing some chess, now streaming, and yeah, I feel like there is something I wanted to say before we start. It was related to the exercises.
Okay.
But I don't remember what it is, so we can just go on and see what we have. I wanted to mention that it's quite late, so I like making excuses sometimes. So if we both seem to have a very low quality of analysis, then it's actually after 1 a.m. at night in Israel, and I think it's quite a good excuse. So you're warned.
Yeah.
And I hope the viewers can find the moves faster and more accurately than we do. So without further ado, let's start with the first position. We have this position was white to move in game number 2, and here Carlsen played knight e2 to c3, and now it was black to move. So let's assume that we are in Blitz rhythm, and that you need to take up to 30 seconds, maybe 40 seconds for each move. So you can think and then tell me your solution when you have it.
Okay.
Hello Chess Pro 02 in the chat. First visitor tonight.
Okay, so I don't think Black has too much of a choice here. I mean, I can see two moves which I can say that are possible, like a candidate moves. So one is being obviously to take the pawn, and the other one is to play a6 with the idea to prevent the move knight b5 check, possibly followed by knight x a7. So my first instinct would be to play a6 because the move knight x c4 allows white after knight b5 check. For example, if king is 7, the king is allowed to penetrate to d5 maybe. There is also, after knight takes a7, from a7 it might go to c6, and after this the knight can support the advance of the passed e-pawn. So I think I would play a6.
Okay, so in the game, Nakamura was black, and he took on c4. And this move was a losing move, because after knight b5 check, king somewhere, in the game he played king e7, knight takes a7. The problem is that now there are two weaknesses in the black position. This strong protected passed pawn on e6, and now the a pawn is a passed pawn. So this second weakness allows white to win the game quite easily. And this was a very big mistake. a6 was not the move I had analyzed, but I believe it has the same value of preventing knight b5 check. The move I wrote was king c6, with the idea knight b5, knight c8. Both of them are fine, and black is still worse, of course, because of this e6 pawn, but it should be able to maintain a fortress here with accurate play. So I believe you're right, and I hope the viewers manage to find a solution here as well. Let's move on to the next position.
Okay.
I want to mention, by the way, that the fact that you see on the left side of the board this kind of blackish, grayish screen is because I didn't want to show the notation which will reveal the solution to the viewers. Asaf cannot see the notation, and I'd like the viewers to not see it as well in this particular format. So feel free to mention what you think about it and try to solve it on your own, if possible, faster than we do. So this is the game number 3 from the match, and here Carlsen was black, and he played the move bishop d7. What do you do with the white?
Okay, so I will think a little bit. I think I can say quite confidently there are only, not like 3 squares that the queen can go to. So f4, f3, or d3. There really aren't that many possibilities. So let's see.
So what's your solution? I remind you it's a Blitz rhythm, so you have up to 30 seconds to make your move. The rhythm was 5 + 2, so...
Okay, so I think both moves, queen f4 and queen f3, look quite scary to me, because black have the possibility of playing, for example, after queen f3, for example, I think the move bishop g4 might be very unpleasant, because the queen kind of ran out of squares. So queen f4, I mean after queen f3, bishop g4, queen f4, the queen is really low on squares, so g5 might as well trap the queen.
So what did you say you would play?
So also I wanted to mention that if white plays queen f4 immediately, so perhaps g5 is also quite strong because there is only the move queen f3, which is not losing the queen, and then same story, bishop g4 seems to trap the queen.
Yeah, and the queen
So
is
I
trapped.
think it's only leaving us with one move by elimination, which is queen d3.
That's correct. In the game, Nakamura played queen f4 and after g5 resigned instantly. And I have to admit that when I was following the game, I was very surprised by what happened. It happened so fast. It took him like 2 seconds to play queen f4 and then even less than a second for Carlsen to play g5, as far as I recall it.
So,
And then
I have one question. Sorry, Tal, that I interrupt. Is the move queen f5? Did the queen move from d3 when she went to f5?
I don't remember, but I think she was. Yeah, it was.
So I think that the main reason for White not playing the move queen d3 back was mainly psychological. So a lot of people, it's very difficult to make some move and a move later go back to the same square which you were before.
Yes.
So it just couldn't kind of made himself play it. So
I just checked. The last move was rook d1 to c1, and then bishop d7. So the position from, let's say, 2 moves ago was something like this position. White played rook c1 to c2, black played bishop c6, rook d1 to c1, bishop d7, queen f4, g5, and white resigned. So there was no psychological effect not to go to d3, but queen f4 is usually a very good square for the queen in this structure, and it doesn't normally get trapped so easily, so especially without dark squared bishops. So, and Nakamura resigned even more quickly than it took to play this sequence, and I thought white was pressing black, and then suddenly he resigned and I didn't even notice what was happening in my stream. So this has been a very dramatic turn of events, and it's probably the critical point of the entire match, because this was game number 3, the result was 1-1, and Nakamura lost like this with white. I'm sure it was quite a serious psychological blow, and he didn't recover since. So let's see game number 6, which is the third exercise for us today. This has been probably the most beautiful game of the match from my point of view, if you don't count all the amazing endgames that we had. And in this particular case, I will show on a different stream about intuition, how they actually reached this position, what amazing moves Carlsen managed to find. But for now, for our sake, this is the critical moment. Black played rook a7. White is very close to winning. He has the queen for a rook and a piece. He just sacrificed a pawn, but he discoordinated black. And please find the next move for white.
Okay, so I have 30 seconds, right?
Even 10 seconds would be fine. I mean, the speed it counts more than the accuracy in this case, because it was blitz. But feel free to take as long as you want.
Okay. Okay, so actually, I don't think I managed to find that much of a great move here. So my first instinct would be to play a move like Queen C8, so attacking the bishop, and also preparing the move Knight C6 maybe on the next move. But I quite almost immediately I noticed that black can play Knight D6, attacking the queen on c8 while also defending the bishop on d8 with the rook. So I don't think it makes that much sense to play queen c8. So this leaves us. Okay, obviously the move b takes a6 comes to mind because I'm a bit afraid that if white will make some random move, so maybe black could play a5 and make himself a defended passed pawn on the a file. And also maybe if it black to move, he has some ideas of maybe trapping the queen with rook c7 because once again the queen is kind of short of square, but I don't think it really works because there is always queen a8. So I think I would have played b takes a6 just to get rid of this pawn.
And after rook a6?
After rook a6, I actually, now that I think about it, there is maybe the move queen c8 once again, but so double attack on the rook on a6 and the bishop on d8. But I think there is the move knight c7, but I still would have played it because at the end maybe I have knight c6. So this was my whole idea. So maybe in this move order it actually works.
Rook a8.
Rook a8. So I think simply queen b7. Yes. There are many threats. There is knight takes d8 simply. Also the rook on a8 is hanging, so the knight cannot move.
Yeah, this position is completely winning for white. He can still hold on by the skin of his teeth with knight f8. He's not losing immediately, but after a simple move like queen b6, is down on material and is completely paralyzed. So we should lose quite easily without too much efforts from white.
Yes, so, I think besides the material advantage, black is also kind of completely passive. Yeah, so, yes.
So almost in this game, Carlsen was rushing a little bit, and while streaming, I myself thought this move queen c8 looked really strong because it's quite obvious to attack the bishop with tempo. And then suddenly after knight d6, queen b8, knight takes b5, he had to be extremely careful, and he made another mistake, rook c1, and suddenly after bishop c7, black was better. And Nakamura won the game very convincingly. And it's quite amazing how many times these two guys saved relatively lost positions against each other and even managed to win.
Yes, by the way, did you notice that it's once again a queen trap? Yes, so
yes. This time Carlsen with white got his queen trapped in a position that was already winning, not only equal. So yeah, this is quite a surprising blunder from white, and it's surprising that Carlsen fell for it, and it's even more surprising that it's a blunder because queen c8 looks so natural. And black seems so uncoordinated, and then suddenly after one move all his pieces are working perfectly together. So yeah, this has been a very unfortunate turn of events. By the way, ba6 is by far the strongest move, but even g4 is just very close to winning because black cannot really make any serious move here.
Okay, actually the move g4 didn't even occur to me, but I think the reason is it's kind of like from psychological point of view, the game is on the queen side, all the events kind of happening there. Yeah. So moves like g4 just kind of don't come to mind.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think about it as well. This was a suggestion of the engine when I was analyzing the position. And yeah, let's move on to the next game. So this was game number 6. Carlsen lost with white in this winning position. Now game number 7, and Carlsen is black this time. He just played the move knight to d6, knight from e8 to d6, attacking the bishop on c4. Please suggest the move as fast as you can. Just take 10 to 15 seconds and suggest a move. Don't explain anything. Just use your intuition.
Okay, really the first move which comes to mind is queen g6. kind of threatening mate in one, using the fact that the bishop on c4 pinning the pawn on f7. And I guess after this, black is kind of forced maybe to give up the queen after queen takes g5, something like this.
Yeah.
So this is definitely the first move which comes to mind. I'm not saying it's the strongest move, but it is definitely looking very tempting.
Yeah. By the way, I discovered we can create different colors with on lichess just by using shift and alt. This is quite useful. So yeah, queen g6 is a move I did not even bother looking at. I didn't even know it existed until you suggested it. And yeah, it looks good, but probably it gives black a little bit of practical chances after queen takes g5. And
yes, that's what I thought.
And he's still in the game.
Actually, you know, I really can imagine black even winning this position, especially if it's Carlsen playing. By the way, you saw that in the final position, you saw there it's very important that on queen d5 there is knight b6 maybe, yeah?
Yeah, I saw it, but I'm not sure. So queen g6 looks like a good move because in the game he did get black.
Actually, the position is quite rich. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, so suggest another move as quickly as you can, just using your intuition. I'm curious.
Okay, and another move which kind of also looks very tempting is bishop h4. So putting the bishop on the same diagonal as the queen, threatening some rook takes g7, and also preparing.
Did you move?
Yes, actually it was by accident, but also maybe preparing the move rook g1 on the next move, so just keeping the attack going. So also looks very tempting.
Yes, so this is the move that was played in the game, and it actually is not such a bad move, but there are two problems with it. One, that in the game after knight c4, rook g7, king g7, bishop d8, rook d8, black got even one more piece compared to your original move and won easily. And the second problem, which I will talk about later, is the most objective move in the position, queen takes g5, and then once again we get the same type of position where black is much worse but still in the game. So now that you know that both of the fancy moves are not that good, what do you think should be the right solution?
Yeah, so the bishop on c4 is obviously under attack. So a move like bishop takes the knight on b3 really doesn't come to mind because white is kind of attacking. I think positionally
so
black.
Suggest a move for white.
Okay, I guess bishop d5. I don't see much other moves.
Yeah, and I know I was kind of misleading you because I gave you this as an exercise and then you just play bishop d5 and you're completely winning. But in a real game, you don't know that it's an exercise and that there is a solution, and whether or not it's fancy. So, had Nakamura just played bishop d5, black can just resign. Bishop h4, rook g1, queen g6 are coming. There's nothing to do, and I remember the computer giving something like +5 or so, and it's probably growing if you give it more time to think. And it looks like a simple move now that we know it. Just running away from the knight. Black is completely paralyzed. He has no plan. And his only hope is that white will be fancy and then he will give up the queen and for these two pieces and try for some counterplay. And Nakamura played bishop h4, which is actually not such a bad move. But had Carlsen played queen g5, he would have had some counterplay. But he made a blunder himself. And I actually remember spotting it in the stream while they were playing, criticizing Nakamura. After rook g7, king g7, there is a very simple move here. Can you find it?
Okay, I only see two legal moves. One being bishop takes the queen on d8,
So what
and the other one is rook g1 check, intermediate check. So I think.
F8, what is your move?
Okay, actually, when you ask it this way, so I think it's quite easy to spot the move Queen H7.
Yeah,
Mm.
and I'm sure in Blitz there are many difficulties to spot such things, and
Wow.
I can't blame any of them for not having seen it. But this move Rook G1 looks fairly simple. I even managed to
Yes,
see it during the stream.
I think that White should have simply played Rook G1, not necessarily seeing the move Queen H7 after it. But I think after Black would play, I mean, because Rook G1 is just in general a good move for White, is bringing
Yeah,
the Rook to the attack with check. And after this, I'm almost sure he would have seen the move Queen H7
mhm.
for a guy for a player on Nakamura's caliber. It would be really
Yeah,
easy job.
yeah. And the main point is that the f6 square is guarded by the bishop. So af- after bishop d8, rook d8, rook
Oh,
g1,
he
king
played.
f6, the black king
Oh,
is very well defended.
yes.
So yeah, this is quite unfortunate that he didn't find rook g1, and yeah, and I'm sure he didn't believe that he had such a winning position. He thought he was struggling for chances, but I really don't understand because he was winning throughout most of the game, and then suddenly he goes to these extreme measures. But yeah, of course, with no time, not much time on the clock, it's never easy. But I believe if someone is a strong player, his intuition should be able to guide him to play relatively healthy moves and without risking the win too much. So
Yes.
yeah, this has
But I
been
think also the pressure of the match, like,
yeah,
they play very fast games, and, when you see a very aggressive possibility to, like, a threatening mate, and it's a very, very tempting moves, like Bishop H4. It's really hard to resist playing
yeah,
such moves, also in a blitz game when you
yeah,
don't have a lot of time. It's really, really difficult.
yeah, and especially grabbing a free queen when it's just there in front of you. Don't stop to
Yes,
think, whoa, do I have any checks before I take the queen? And
it's
yeah, it's quite sad how from a completely winning position once again white now is just lost. And
By the way, can White play Queen F5 in this position? Maybe is it better than
yeah, I
Rook?
believe it was a better move. I don't remember how much better, but he would have had more chances than
Yes,
the.
because when the King got to F6, suddenly it's just completely safe. It's
Mhm.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
But after Queen F5,
yeah.
there are perhaps some Queen G5 threats. Yes, at least it's not that simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. By the way, for those who joined us late, I'm here with International Master Asaf Givon on a Skype conversation, and I'm letting him attempt to solve the different critical positions from the Carlsen Nakamura match. He didn't see the solutions before, and he's trying his best to find the moves. So far, with a very good success rate. And the move that you suggested, Queen G6, despite not being the best solution, it's still very close to winning after Queen G5 and whatever. I think just some bishop move followed by Rook
Yes,
G1.
I think the big difference between this position and the move and the position we saw before with the Queen sacrifice, that here White has much more attacking potential. Because it still had the bishop in the position, so it really changes quite a lot. So,
Yes,
but of course, bishop d5, much like a crushing move.
yes. And the lesson from this particular exercise is quite important that there's no need to find fancy moves when the position is good. And if you have better pieces, you can win without any, um, let's say, without any beautiful tactics or combinations. Just improving your pieces and bringing them to better squares should be enough, and
Yeah.
without too much risk.
By the way, I also wanted to mention that I think one of the reasons that White's attack is so powerful in this position,
Yes.
besides the fact that he has a lot of pieces kind of in the attack, also Black's pieces are kind of very far away from the defense. So this knight on b3 looks nice, but is actually not contributing in any way to the defense. Also, the rook on e3 kind of looks active, but its piece is kind of really not coordinated well in order to defend the king. So
Yes.
just a very strong attack.
So I'll let you think about the next position. Game number 9, Hikaru with white versus Magnus Carlsen.
Okay.
In this particular position, you're white. Black just played king b5 takes pawn on b4. You can think for 30 seconds. And I will mute the conversation for this time just to mention the new followers that we had. So, yeah, we have 6 new followers on the channel. So I'll just quickly mention the names. Jerklamp, Black and Gold 09, Monkey D Bill, Eric ASP, Alex Reeve 69, Apple Pie 123123. Thank you all for following, we appreciate it. I would love everyone to have their real name, but for some reason on Twitch people enjoy all these creative numbers and followed by some random words. I really don't understand why it's so important to be anonymous, but if you guys like it, then so be it. Thank you for following. And yeah, we appreciate every form of support. So, Asaf,
Yes.
what is your move?
Okay, so once again, I think white only have 2 candidate moves in this position. So obviously his knight is under attack, so there is knight c6 check, and perhaps there is also the move knight takes c4, because after knight c6 check.
So my suggestion is that you first choose the move and then explain what's going on. So I will have a chance to catch you on a mistake.
Okay, I think I don't know. I'm a bit I'm a bit not sure.
Unconfident. Yeah?
Yes, but okay. Let's play knight takes c4.
Looks like a very practical move.
Yes, because I don't know what was. I didn't see this game in particular when I was watching the match, but I'm guessing because of this being an end game, each side had a very little time on the clock.
Yes.
So
this is a pure intuition exercise. There is no room for explaining or slow thinking. So your intuition points at one or two of 2 moves. If you have 20 seconds on the clock, what move does your hand reach to?
I think it's mainly a matter of like how confident do I feel in my position, because knight c6 is a move which kind of it's a very confident move. Like I don't scare of the pawn on c4 so much, and knight takes c4 is a move which saying I want to be safe and just secure the draw. I think that's so knight takes c4 looks to me like a safe move, because white can never, not never, but it's kind of, I really find it difficult to believe that black can win this position, because the king kind of reaches the pawns on the king side very fast.
So what do you choose?
Yes, I choose knight takes c4.
Yes. This was my intuition as well, and this is what was played in the game, and I was praising how confident Nakamura is when choosing this practical move. And then after the obvious sequence here, Carlsen played the strong move knight d2, forcing e5, takes, knight f3 check. Now king e4 is forced, otherwise the knight stays on f3 forever. And then knight h4, and white is completely lost. And even after knight h4 was played for a few seconds, I was sure it's an easy draw. And then I realized after the next move, king d4, that suddenly, maybe something went wrong for white.
Yes, I think the problem that the king cannot approach the pawn. Okay, it can play king e5 and king f6, but there is always knight f3, yes?
Exactly. So when the moment you go with the king to f6, I will go to f3. And then it will take you a few moves to go back to attack the knight. I'll go back to h4. And it's quite a nice mechanism that black managed to build here with only a knight and a pawn. And yeah, this position is just completely lost. And after knight takes c4, white is already completely lost. And it's very surprising. And well, I'm sure this position is not too difficult if you have 10 minutes to think, because you can just calculate And after knight c6 check, black just has two moves. If king b3 you go back, and you force him to go back as well. And if king b5 you just go to e7, and he cannot make any progress. You just go to d5 next if you want. So he has to go back as well. So it looks simple now that we know the solution, now that we know the variations, but with a few seconds on the clock, it's never easy. And as you can see, both myself and Asaf are leaning towards knight takes c4 as the safer approach with no time on the clock. So this is very important to calculate when having time. And with intuition, I think it's just a pure gamble. There is no real way to tell which move is the best without proper calculation, yeah?
Yes, I agree.
And if such a strong player as Nakamura also was leaning towards knight c4, then maybe there's nothing wrong with us. It's just that that calculation is inevitable. I also want to mention that about 10 moves ago, Nakamura was a pawn up and offered a draw, and Carlsen refused.
Really?
And this probably affected the scenario that took place here, because he was just trying to force the draw from that moment on, even though he was a pawn up. And
yes, but I think it happens quite a lot with Carlsen, that he's winning, not lost, but games which the opponent kind of put pressure on him. He defends very well, and a lot of time he also wins, just purely on this psychological effect.
Yeah, it's amazing. You can be better, and you still feel like you're under pressure. And this wasn't such a friendly outcome for Nakamura. And
by the way, I wanted to point out a random variation that I've seen now when you pointed it out. I think it's also important that after knight takes c4, I can move already, right?
Yes, you can move if you want.
Okay, so after knight takes c4, knight takes c4, queen, king d5, knight d2. If king e6, I think it's quite important that after knight takes e4, king f5, there is knight f2, king takes f6, knight takes h3. I think black it's kind of a very similar mechanism of defending this pawn, and the king is just cannot do anything, and black is simply winning it, just bringing the king closer and closer.
The knight is very far away. It will take white 4 moves to attack it, and then you will just simply go to f4, and once the king goes back to attack g5, you can just go back to h3, and
actually, I think this is quite a known mechanism in such positions.
And if anyone didn't know it, they probably know it now. So this is amazingly an amazingly practical thing to know when you're playing an endgame, especially in Blitz, but even in over-the-board chess. When you calculate such a position, a knight and a pawn usually can avoid, let's say, simplifications against a bare king in most situations.
By the way, there is another nice thing about this position, that perhaps without the pawn on g4, maybe it was a draw, because the king could come to g4, and then it was just a draw. So actually the pawn on g4, only with the pawn on g4, this mechanism works. Also, if the pawn was on g3, it was probably also a draw, so it's quite beautiful position.
This pawn is not very friendly for white. That's a nice point, that without the pawn it would be a draw.
Yes.
Those pawns. So, someone is asking in the chat who's on the mic. It's International Master Asaf Givon, not I am Asaf. So Asaf is his first name, International Master from Israel. I believe you're also a coach, right?
Yes, I am.
Other than being the co-founder of Chess Juice, which is in itself pretty awesome, yeah?
Of course.
So, let's go on to the last position. They didn't make that many blunders. Still, we're talking about two of the best online players that this planet can offer. What? Also offline.
Yes.
Best offline players. Yeah. Okay, so this position was quite an interesting game from many aspects. It had so many critical moments, but only two important blunders. And just like a general rule, white was pushing the entire game, and can you guess the result?
Carlsen won. I don't
Yes.
know
Yes,
which
Nakamura is
which.
white, and eventually Carlsen won with black. So in
Yes.
this position, black played king e7, and before you start thinking, I want you to tell me the move and then think. So you take 10 seconds, tell me the move, don't explain anything, then take more time to think and then come up with your conclusion. So I give you 10 seconds starting now. So what's your move?
I
Your
think I'll
intuition.
go for bishop d6.
King f7?
Okay, if your only move is king f7, I
No,
would
just
go
say a
back.
move. Say the next move for white.
Okay, I don't know still the next move, but I would go back to c7 and gain some time in blitz for sure.
Okay, then I go back.
But
And what do
you
you
go
do?
back. Okay, of course, white if he wants to make progress, he must play the move king c6 in some position. But I'm just wondering what's the difference between king c6 in the first position, or like with the bishop on c7, or with the bishop on d6. What could be the difference? So
So,
yeah,
what's your solution?
I think I would have played like after after going back and forth like one time in order to gain some time on the clock. Um, King c6 looks kind of more natural because with the bishop on d6, the king cannot move forward to b7 because he must protect the bishop on d6. So
Okay,
just by pure intuition, but
so before I reveal the solution, I want you to take half a minute or more to think and then come with your conclusions.
okay.
I'll just mention that Nakamura and myself fell for the trap, the well-known trap of being greedy. And there is a very Kramnikian solution to this problem.
Yes, actually, I think I've already kind of thought about it, but I give it another. I will give it another small thought, just to make sure I'm not giving black any counter chances. Okay, because obviously white is in control in this position. His king is more active, and he has the bishop against the knight, which is known to be a better minor piece in an open position with pawns on both sides. So it just, I'm assuming what happened in the game that, as you said, white went after the a6 pawn and kind of gave black counter chances connecting with the king coming to d5 or something like this. So my guess would be that the best way would be bishop d6 check, king f7 and bishop c5.
That's correct. Bishop c5, this is just Zugzwang, black can resign.
Yeah, this is actually very beautiful because, okay, I think it's important that after knight takes c5, the pawn endgame is obviously lost because, okay, I think both king takes c5 and b takes c5 wins, but of course the king on d5 is just way too active in order to for black to defend. And I mean, any move by black, there is some penetration to the black's camp, but without giving any counter chances. Yes, so this is the deep thing about the position. Yeah.
Yeah, if you take here, if I take, what do you take back with?
Yeah, that's what I want to say. It seems like both moves are winning, I must say. But okay, of course, the intuition says b takes c5.
And then?
Let me calculate. I don't. I have time to calculate.
Just try to guess the move.
Okay, c6.
And then?
King c5.
Yeah, and the game over.
Just take the pawn, yeah?
Yeah, you can also. I think you're also in time to play king b6. If he goes b4, ab, a4. I think, but the simplest is king c4.
Yes, but why risk?
Yeah. So yes, b takes c5 is quite important because after king c5, king e6, there is a pawn race, which might be complicated. So bishop c5. I don't expect myself or anyone else to immediately know it after a second, But from the intuition point of view, my mistake and also Nakamura's mistake, it's not losing yet. It's not even that. It's not even worse for white. But my intuition was telling me to go after the a6 pawn because black cannot defend it. But the problem is that black will have time to go king e6, king d5, king c6. I'll demonstrate. And this actually took place in the game. And now Nakamura realized he made a mistake and he didn't go for king b7 because this position is not so easy for white to make progress. And already black's king is more active. So he chose here, he changed his mind, played bishop f4, which is another mistake. There is a saying, if you say A, you might say B. So here he should have went for it, and now after any bishop move it should be around equal. But after this move bishop f4, suddenly black played knight e5, followed by knight c4 check, and knight takes a3, and we see the same mechanism with the knight on a3 protecting the pawn. And actually now black is better.
Nice.
He's not only better, he's already completely winning.
Yeah, just king d5, king c4 coming, yes.
And it's quite amazing, and in such a winning position here, after two inaccurate moves, suddenly black was winning. And here it was not too late. White could have played king c5 and then probably after knight c4 play a4. This was the key idea. But I can't expect anyone to find it with time pressure on the clock. King b7 looks so much more natural, and instead just bishop d6 followed by bishop c5, and black is completely paralyzed. He has no moves. He can. I'm sure Carlsen would have found at least a way to hold on for a few more moves, and try to challenge white and maybe even win. But objectively, it seems like he can't really hold the position much longer. So
very nice, very nice.
I will go quickly jump to the end of this game. So let's have a look here. What do I press? Yeah, like this. So I will just show to Asaf and the viewers the moves without explaining too much, just stating that this move king e4 gives away the win. Knight c2 was winning here instead, grabbing the pawn, and there's nothing white can do. So now after this king c6, the win does not exist anymore. Carlsen was relying on this particular sequence, but now there is a pawn race which resulted in this position, and during the game I was sure this position is winning for black, right?
Yes, because it seems like he's just always can take both pawns on the king side. Yeah,
if you start giving checks, you'll just take both pawns, and if you don't, the king and queen will collaborate. So let's have a look at the position. And here, it looks winning, but the computer stated that it was a draw. To be honest, I don't really understand myself why it is a draw, but do you want to guess the move?
For white, yeah?
Yeah.
So, I'm guessing if white has any draws here, it must be some perpetual check mechanism. So let me try to find it. I guess queen e1. I don't see queen e1, and if of course it's important not to play queen c3, yes, because there is queen f3, exchanging queens and going for the endgame, at the pawn endgame. Or is it winning, by the way?
After which moves?
Queen c3, queen f3, takes h, king d6, king d4, king e6, king takes h4, king f6. Might be also a draw, yes?
Yeah, but why not king takes h4?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's like queen e1 when I'm in first place, just to defend the pawn on h4. So I think it's kind of a forced move, no?
Yes, this is the correct move. And I didn't write any more moves, just the computer wrote it was a draw. Do you want to try to understand it ourselves? I guess if king h3 you can go queen h1 check, but if king g4, Well, maybe just bring the king over, and there's no way for black to get the pawn.
Yes, but okay, it's draw like by computers, but for in practical game, it's very unpleasant for white.
Yeah,
I'm
I
for
agree,
sure.
but objectively, it is a draw. And if you would make a blunder later, then the game would still make it to this highlights show. But there is always a chance for Nakamura to hold on in such an equal position, and for Carlsen as well. And do you want to guess what's the move that Nakamura played here with white?
They reached this position in the game.
Yes.
Hmm. I mean, I just don't seem. Please just don't tell me he played King D6 because King D6 is immediately losing after Queen F8. But did he play it?
Yes.
Really?
He played king d6 and fell for queen f8 and immediately resigned.
That's amazing because in Queen End games, I think it's quite well known that you must be aware of these small tricks of this how do you call this motive?
Skewer.
Like a skewer, yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so I'm quite amazed by this because it's really like the first thing which comes to mind. Like just don't lose your queen, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah. So this has been the last game of this particular show. I've made two more collections from the match. One involving endgames and another one involving powerful moves on the topic of intuition. I'm not sure who will be with me in these particular streams. It might be Asaf as well. It might be Daniel Naroditsky or someone else. We'll see. But he will be a member of our Chess Juice team.
okay.
And I want to mention two more things before we finish for tonight. It's quite late already. One thing is yeah, I'm going to do a stream soon enough with one of the admins on Lichess, where he will show me and guide me through all the different features of this amazing site and actually teach me and the viewers of how to maximize let's say the benefit of the different functions that there are here on this amazing community. And the second thing was involving something else, the next week. So I'm guessing for those who are from Europe and the USA or most of the countries, the week ends on Sunday. But here in Israel, the week ends on Saturday. So for us, it's already a new week. And in this particular week, we're going to stream in 5 different tournaments in the next 5 days. And we will have a different member of our Chess Juice team streaming each one of these events. And 4 of them will be the monthly tournament on Lichess, and one of them will be on chess.com, and it will be even stronger. So feel free to follow us because we don't know all the hours and times yet of our streams, so you will get a notification, and any form of support is most welcome. And Asaf, how did you feel? Did you find all the solutions that to the problems we presented?
Okay, I'm. It's one thing to solve these positions, without any pressure, like as in the game, especially in Blitz. So I really think in all of practically in all of the positions we saw, I mean the mistakes were very kind of understandable mistakes. Let's say it were like very logical moves which turned out to be very bad from kind of from very concrete reasons, but I think perhaps we would make the same mistakes if we were at these games, yeah.
Yes.
So, but I think it was reasonably challenging, especially the ones which were not kind of a forced move, like for the example, the previous one with the move Bishop C5. It's really kind of difficult moves to see in Blitz, I think. These quiet moves.
Yes.
Yes. So
yeah, this is.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. And yeah, I'm sure you'll enjoy the next two segments of the exercises. They are gonna be quite longer, but it's gonna worth it because there's so much food for thought from this amazing match. This has been quite incredible to watch these two legends in action against each other. And
Yes.
yeah, I feel very fortunate to have been able to be free on the same day and stream it, and while watching it myself. And yeah, that's quite a luxury to be able to do so. And I want to thank everyone who's watching and here on the live stream and in the archived version. I'll just quickly mention anyone new who followed us. Asaf, in case you don't know, we had already 6 new followers that I mentioned. Now, before going away, I'll just quickly mention the names. So we have 6 new people. I'm going to attempt to actually pronounce their names. Do you want to join me to this challenge?
Okay, but how can I do it?
So I assume you can. You should be able to see my screen.
Let me see. Yes, I can see it.
So starting from here, try to read them out loud. This last from here and up.
Okay, I don't think it's possible.
Blar has followed us. Melek K94.
Okay, I think the last one was just simply Israeli guy. Yes? Like the
Yes.
word king in Hebrew means
Yes.
Melek. So
Melek.
Melek,
Yes.
yes.
MCJGP. Dr. Evil 691. Kitty Kitty. Hiss. And what is it? Alice Weiser Besser. Thank you all for following us. We have 12 new followers on the stream. And yeah, we appreciate any form of support, and it's very nice to see that people are interested in watching our future content. And one thing I mentioned earlier while you were thinking, I don't understand why everyone feel the need to be so anonymous all the time on Twitch. While on YouTube, I noticed that most people have their, or at least a decent amount have their real names being shown. So, do you think there is a reason for their anonymity?
Actually, I do, because on Twitch, obviously, there are a lot of trolls, and obviously trolls don't want to be they don't want other people to know who they are. Yes, so
yeah,
of course.
I agree. And to be honest, we encountered at least 8 different trolls during this stream alone.
I'm not so sure if it's different people, by the way. It's
yeah.
I just happened to see the chat. I'm not so sure whether it's really different people. Maybe just one guy who opened up a lot of accounts. So
yeah. And yeah, it's never easy to deal with trolls because they're much louder than the tens or hundreds of people who are watching quietly, and yeah, it creates the illusion that there are more of them than there actually are.
Well, I think there is somebody in the chat who wants to ask a question.
Yeah, but this stream is not intended for questions per se, so I think they will have a chance in our next streams that will be in the following week. The next 5 days in a row we're going to stream, And even though I won't play in 4 of these streams, I will probably join some of them just to escort some of the new streamers that haven't done it before. So,
Yes.
yes. So, yeah, I feel like this has been enough for one night. It's already 2 a.m. and we both have to...
Technically at 1, you know.
Oh yeah, now the clock goes backwards. Yay! We gain 1 more hour to sleep. So
Yes.
yeah, maybe we can solve some more tactics.
Maybe we should, you know.
We should continue streaming for 1 more hour and solve tactics and show that not only Nakamura and Carlsen are capable of blundering. Yeah, but some people have to work. That's what I heard. So I feel like setting an example for now. And yeah, this has been very nice to stream. Thank you Asaf for joining me despite the late hour and
Thank you.
trying to solve all these different questions challenges that I posed you. If anyone has any remarks or something they want to change, for example, this green thing that is, I think it's called vertical over here, whatever in the stream that you would like us to improve, feel free to write the comments. Even though we don't always respond to everything, we do attempt to read all the comments and take it into account. So yeah, I feel like this is enough for now. And if you enjoyed it, just hit the follow button and keep watching our next streams. So
Yeah, goodbye.
good night. See you guys.